Okay, again, that's the end of our list of registered testifiers. We welcome all public testimony. For those of you seeking to offer testimony, please state your name for the record. You have 1 minute to offer your testimony. When you hear the buzzer go off, please come to a conclusion.
That was 3 minutes.
No, 1 minute.
Okay, don't take 1 minute just to announce myself. I am Kumo Ali, direct descendant of Kamehameha I, as I said earlier, Lancelot Ha'ili Lincoln, to my grandmother Ha'ili. Kaliko o Kalani, I am a direct descendant, and I have the documents right in my bag if you want to check me out. How you doing, Ikaika? Good to see you, my friend. You know, I oppose this bill. You know why? You cannot grow watermelons of Konya like you can in Eva. You cannot grow watermelons in Wamanalo like you can grow in Eva. You cannot grow pumpkins in Wamanalo or Konya like you can grow in Eva. Very few places where you can grow this product. Watermelon especially. They used to grow watermelon in Lanikai. Now all the rich people live. It's funny how where we used to grow watermelon, all rich people live in that area today. In every one of them districts. Now you people want to cover and build. I understand you need to build, you know, for progress. But hey, if we have a problem with people coming here, tell them no come here no more. And for the gentleman that spoke earlier about he worried about his children, his daughter don't have to go to the state side. That sucker can afford 1,500 acres and 20,000 acres. He can afford to buy his daughter one house. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Mahalo. Members, any questions for the testifier? If not, will the next testifier please come forward?
Aloha, my name is Jack DeFeo, and I'm a proud resident of Makaha. What you'll witness here today is that the people are unanimously in opposition to Bill 65, as I am. Time and time again, I have seen you folks listen to the will of the people and ignore them. My understanding, I'm old-fashioned, my understanding is this, and please jump in after I get done. My understanding is you are public servants. Here we are. This is the public that you serve. We are unanimously opposed. Those who are in favor of Bill 65 are those who are on the side of the developers. And you know it's all about the money. You are willing, if this bill goes through, you will sacrifice some of the most prime agricultural land on the planet. That's only one issue. I have listened to experts on both sides speak about this issue, and let me tell you, experts say that this is a dangerous thing for you to consider. It puts all of us at risk if you support this Bill 65. It is outrageous, and the word here is this, outrageous, because if you are not outraged by this Bill 65, you're not paying attention and you're not listening to us. You're not listening.
Thank you, Mr.
You cease to have become our public servants, are in the pockets of the developers. Do the will of the people, and you'll have us on our side and support any endeavors you so choose. If you want to talk about protection, protect us as you are assigned to do.
Members, any questions? If not, will the next testifier please come forward?
Dave Moskowitz, Waikiki. I'm here in opposition to the bill. I think you may have seen my letter to the editor last week to Chair Anderson, asking him who the community was that he spoke of. It was a few people. They didn't put that part in. Was it a couple people that called him, visited him in his office, he met at a fundraiser? You know, where I come from, city council meetings are at night. Unfortunately, perhaps here that would interfere with your cocktail party circuit and your free food. That way regular people could come at night, and I think people should hear to move in that direction. I think there's a problem here, and Stanford Carr talked about it. Property value is going to go up 30% in the next 2 years. Property taxes serve the developers, the real estate, and the big banks. What they're going to, if you stop building, it's going to go up even more because these people are going to keep passing property taxes and force all of you out of your homes and off the island. That's what's going on. You don't own this island. Cocktail party circuit goers do. Thank you.
Members, any questions for the testifier? If not, will the next testifier please step to the microphone?
Good morning. My name is Glenn
Morning.
Yamasaki, City Council and Chair. All of us want happiness, but the problem is, where will the food come from? Mr. Okamoto said that there will be a lot of farming land, but the way the world situation is precarious on the mainland and different parts of the world. Can we secure the farming land in time where they predict they're going to be farming land? That's the problem. To all of you folks, what's in it for you folks? Will you have food on your table? And for all those in your districts in the future, what will happen? That's the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for the testifier? If not, will the next testifier please step to the microphone?
Good morning, folks.
Aloha, good morning.
My name is Robert Duncan. I've been a resident of Ever Beach for 40 years, and I've loved the place. We've had a wonderful time living there. I was amazed to see the third reading of today, which I believe this is my fourth testimony on this subject. However, I am for it, and of course, there's always differences of opinion, but I think that you folks in the future will lead us in the right direction to avoid some of the problems that will be, against what all of us would want. I have a lot of trust in you people. I am in favor of the lagoon in particular. That's why I'm here, versus the number of marina for the boats. So thank you, folks, and again, I'm for this.
Members, any questions for the testifier?
I do.
Councilmember Pine.
Are you paid for by the developers?
Not yet, anyway. I hope that could happen, but unfortunately, I'm just a resident.
So you're just a regular local resident?
I guess so, yes.
Thank you.
very much.
Members, any further questions for the testifier? Thank you very much for being here. Would the next testifier please step to the microphone?
We're a body of four, a family of four. Aloha to
Aloha.
all of you. We may require just a little more time to speak what we want to say to you here today. My name is Judith Flanders, and I am Keikeo Ka'aina. Beside me are my two sons. This is John and David, my granddaughter, Keala. I have two daughters and a grandson in California, and they would be here standing with us if they were on island. It is with deep trepidation that we take our stand to address all of you in this room today and to respectfully ask you to bear witness to what we want to say. We are only a handful, and I underline that, only a handful, of the many mo'opuna of James and Abigail Campbell. But we are of the conviction that we are being summoned by our kapuna to do ho'oponopono for a wrong that was perpetuated against the Aina when the Campbell estate sold somewhere around 1,375 acres of prime grade A and B agricultural lands to the developer, D.R. Horton. My hands are shaking and I have to get this page separated. If we could go back in time and apply the lessons learned from the Ho'opili controversy to the decisions made 7 years ago, would we do it differently? Had the four of us here known what we know today, we do unequivocally state that we would have actively done everything within our power to preserve these rich agricultural lands for the production of food for the people of Hawaii. Thank you. We are standing before you today because we believe that, like us, many people in the community who are or have been a part of the momentum of Ho'opili might, if given another chance, a chance to rediscuss this, to look at it again. They might want to turn the tides of time and support a different outcome. The EVA development plan is your kuleana now. I swear it is. And we are asking you to please pause and examine some of the obsolete underlying assumptions of this plan and begin the conversation anew based on 21st century thinking. And we might also say Native Hawaiian thinking. In the preface and executive summary of the EDP under the discussion of a sustainable future for Oahu is written, and I quote, "The loss of prime agricultural land in EVA is the cost of ensuring that the rural areas of Waianae, North Shore, and the windward side and along Kunia Road in central Oahu are protected against development." We want to challenge the validity of this 1970s thinking. May I go on? In today's
continue.
world, excuse me?
Please continue.
Thank you.
We'll allow you a little bit of time to wrap up.
I'm sorry?
We will allow you a little bit of time to wrap up.
Thank you so much. In today's world, there is a food movement that is sweeping across the United States. And here in Hawaii, it is steadily growing into a collective concern of critical proportions. We've got to get that into our awareness. People, including our community and political leaders, perhaps some of you here today, are beginning to take our food security far more seriously than we did a few years ago. Realizing that we must strive for greater resource self-sufficiency given the vulnerability of our island state, we all need to realize this. We're 3,000 miles out in the Pacific, and we're very, very vulnerable. Setting aside all the data and the studies that are being defended by opposing sides in the Ho'opili controversy, let us focus on just one fact which illustrates the blatant error of trying to convert Oahu prime agricultural land into a housing project. We read recently on the internet that less than 10% of the total land area of the Hawaiian Islands is covered by mature soil. And if that's true, and that most of the state has little or no soil cover, if that's true, then shouldn't we pause for a moment and take this information in? Really take it in?
I've got to ask you to please come to a conclusion.
Wouldn't you think that this fact would be the prime driver of how we value our land and where we allow homes to be built? Okay, if I have to come to a conclusion, then I'll have to skip all this. I just want to say one more paragraph. Is that okay? Thank you. So I was going to tell you all, I was going to go over again the way in which the lands of Ho'opili will have to be excavated or over-excavated in order to put housing on them. So that was what I'm skipping. But what I would like to then say is, this is how we feel. What height of arrogance and folly would drive us to excavate these extraordinary soils to a depth of 3 feet? Personally, we think that such action, we being our family, we think that such action is immoral and an arrogant and completely indefensible violation of our precious Aina. I'm skipping a lot that I really wanted to say.
I know, I've got to ask you to please wrap up, otherwise I'll have to give the same courtesy to everybody else.
I'll turn it in.
About another 10 seconds, please.
All right, thank you. We have come to ask you in deep humility to take the first concrete step in reversing the course and rectifying the original erroneous action set in motion in 2006 when this precious EVA farmland was sold to a developer. Thank you for hearing us today.
Members, any questions for the testifier? not, thank you very much, and mahalo for your understanding.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for your understanding.
Okay, next testifier, please come forward, state your name for the record, and offer your testimony.
Good afternoon, members of the council and Chair Martin. My name is Evelyn Souza. I come as a resident of the Kapolei area, mainly Makakilo, been up there for over 4 decades, almost as long as some of you have been alive. And I'm here in opposition of Bill 65, only because I think it's still premature. We saw the results of a bill being passed just last year about commercial businesses on public beaches or city beaches. And it had far-reaching consequence that we never had intended. And I think Bill 65 is there also. I want you to remember that Bill 65 is not only about Ho'opili. It is about congestion. It is about schools and public places, overpopulation. It is about water resources. It's about waste management resources that will be taxed beyond our capability to handle at this present moment. I came with a prepared thing, but of course, being me, I have deviated from that. But I want to say that we all know that the 9,000 vehicles per hour right now that the H1 freeway was designed to hold will have to go and appreciate to 17,000. Oh my goodness! Oh shoot! Can I just read the back end of this, please?
Go ahead.
Okay. Any approval of new housing development or changes in land zoning that will bring about new housing development must first ensure that traffic will not be negatively impacted. Proper planning and implementation of job creations, building roads, and mass transit must be done prior or during the development to ensure that current leeward residents are not negatively impacted. The EDP must also require that the city and state to build their share of roads prior to the development as a requirement to approve the development. The EDP has yet to demand in definitive terms and set specific timelines that government can keep pace with what is planned for. The private sector seems to have to shoulder the burdens of proper planning by design, while government entities, that's the city and state, are allowed to sway in the wind and constantly play catch-up while it suits them. This formula planning needs to be corrected and redirected to hold government as accountable, if not more than that, for which it is placed upon the private sector to achieve. In passing, I want you to remember this also. The Kapolei Neighborhood Board had a recent election. 50% of our members are new. We have not had an occasion to opine with their input, and it would be egregious for anybody, developer or not, to say the Kapolei Neighborhood Board approved this. In actuality, it has not, because we have not met yet. I don't see any reason why we cannot postpone the EDP, because we just need to. We need to be transparent. We need to involve the people a little bit more. It's been, what, over a decade now. What's a few more months? And we don't want a ramification as was happening with the other bills that have passed. I implore you. Way back in the day, my husband and I used to be in the racing business. We made rule books. We entertained every single class and division. Everybody did input, just like you're doing with the people and population. And every time we produce a rule book, which is equated to the EDP, somebody would try to fudge, because racers are fudgers, okay? But with that, we had a disclaimer at the bottom, and it simply read, if it says you cannot, or if it doesn't say you can, you cannot. Can we do that, please? But please, I implore you, Ms. Pine, Mr. Menor, and those that would follow suit with the representatives in our district, please just postpone it and give us a chance to have grassroots again. From a community that is fast-growing on a monthly basis, we have thousands of new people occupying. They're not here today because it's usually two-income families, and I thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Souza. Members, any questions? No questions? Just as a reminder now, when you hear that buzzer go off, please come to a conclusion. I know Vice Chair Anderson gave you a lot of leeway. I'll probably give you a little leeway, but to be respectful to those who offered testimony prior to you, we kept them to the time limit, so we would appreciate you respecting the time limit to this matter. Go ahead.
Aloha, my name is Shin Ho. I am a 30-year-old farmer, and I'm here today to testify in support of Bill 65. I think it's smart growth for our city, and as a young resident of Honolulu, I want to see density in our urban core so that we can have the best use of rail. I want to see our city grow so that many young people like myself have the opportunity to be entrepreneurs, work in high-tech industries, and continue to live in Hawaii. And as a young farmer, the Ho'opili Urban Agricultural Program has given us hope for the future. And when I say us, I'm speaking on behalf of my brother and myself, who both run Ho Farms. For 5 years, we have been actively seeking a long-term lease. And my brother and I, we never felt like our job was permanent, and I believe it had a lot to do with the fact that, we were on really short-term leases. So we felt that, if we failed, then we could always take a career change because there was just nothing really tied us to the farm business. But since we got our 20-year lease with Ho'opili, our mindset has changed, and we look forward to being part of Ho'opili's urban agricultural program, and it has really kind of tied us to the job of being a farmer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? Councilmember Pine has a question for you.
What kind of crops do you grow? We grow tomatoes, cucumbers, long beans, eggplant, and a bunch of other crops. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions for the testifier? If not, next testifier, please come forward, state your name for the record, offer your testimony.
I'm Rose Poe. I'm against this. I think the farmers should have the right to grow wherever they want to. We don't need no more houses out there, which the ones that are being built are like cracker boxes. You can hear the people next door to you. So it's no use of building those things that you can't, So I'm against that. I think we need more farmland. Because if we go to the farmer's market, it's just like buying this stuff at the stores. And they're not from here. The farmer market's getting it from the mainland. They're in big bags and they just put them out and put them on the stands. So we need local food to develop. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? No questions? Next testifier, please come forward, state your name for the record, offer your testimony.
Aloha, my name is Sheila Valdez. I reside in the Honouli'uli, Ahupua'a. I am opposed to Bill 65. For one, the farmer has long been a part of this area. Raising hollow patches is a long, ancient tradition that still exists in the Ahupua'a today. Exterminating the farmlands in the Everplains will cause a great deal of disharmony between people and place for those of us who want to keep the Aina Aina. I would also like to bring attention to the effects of the constant traffic that is in the area. I live directly across of the proposed Ho'opili project, facing the highway going into and coming out of Ewa. Traffic noise is constant. There is no comfort level of rest, relaxation, and sleep in my apartment. I have counted vehicles on the highway when it gets to the point where there's just too much traffic. 100,000 vehicles stream through this thoroughfare every single day. The noise is just horrendous. The ability to enjoy my day off has never been peaceful. And please consider, because there is no buffer or barrier to soften tires on pavement. That is the worst kind of noise to have. Please consider the traffic congestion in the area that you are proposing.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for the testifier? No questions? Thank you. Thank you for coming forward. Next testifier, please, sir. State your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Stuart Coleman, and I'm speaking as a writer, educator, and environmental coordinator. And you have a very difficult decision before you all today. As you can tell by the heightened tension in the room. There are a lot of people who are very passionate about this issue, so at the very, very least, I ask you to postpone a decision on this. And to make an exception and do important ag lands, do a resolution for what is the most productive body of land in the entire state. How many of you remember the shipping strike in the 90s when we were cut off from supplies? If anything like that happened today, you of all people know well how desperate our situation is and our food insecurity. We need more housing, cheap housing, yes, but we don't need to put it on the most productive ag land in the entire state. We need farmland more than anything, and I think all of us realize that. It's in our laws, it's in our resolutions. So we need to protect that. So please do everyone a favor and yourselves, save yourselves some heartache and postpone this, get more public feedback so that we can make an informed decision about this. I'll just conclude if I could on one final point. Buried in this plan is the plan to use a desal plant. Now, I work with an organization that has done a lot of research, the Surfrider Foundation in California. This is the worst thing that you can do. It's a last resort. But of course, there are going to be big companies that want to come and do this. And if you develop this area, you will have to do a desal plant. And the amount of energy that it takes to make water from a desal plant and the environmental input, it puts out, the worst kind of brine that you can imagine. And kills all kinds of creatures coming in. It's very, very destructive and it's very expensive. So I ask you to reconsider to postpone voting on this plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for the testifier? No questions? Next testifier, please come forward. State your name for the record.
Yes, hi, thanks. Renee Ng, in opposition to Bill 65. I'm against, because the problem is this, bill, it proposes to pave over the best farmland that produces 30% of the food on in this state. And Eva has the best land, the best sunshine, the pure water, and is close to the markets. And, Eva farmland has been proven to be 50% more productive than the state average. You can't be for food security and agree to pave it over, pushing food production to other areas with less sun, more clouds, not suited for a lot of kind of clouds, farther from the markets, and that Dole land above Wahiawa and above, and watered by Lake Wilson that has wastewater, I understand, dumped into it, and by law, water with effluent in it cannot be used to grow a lot of different kinds of crops. So thinking it's okay to pave over land that produces 30% of our best, our best product is tantamount to cutting off 30% of your take-home pay and saying, oh, we'll figure out what to do. We can't do that. That jeopardizes food security. And on top of that, economists say that replacing just 10%, we need more ag land, not less. Just 10% of our imported food will create 2,300 jobs and 313 million in revenue, and with the multiplier effect, of course, that ratchets sales revenue up to $1 billion more circulating the economy, so that approving Bill 65 damages food security, damages your ability to create more jobs and more economic stimulus. So I ask that you amend it to maybe include the Ho'opili farmland, give it IAL status, so that at least that part can be carved out. We can continue to have our food, our food grown there. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for the testifier? No questions, thank you. Next testifier, please state your name for the record, offer your testimony.
Good afternoon, my name is Leona Pereza from Kailua, and I am here speaking personally. I am speaking in profound, emphatic, and absolute opposition to Bill 65. In fact, any future development in the Ewa Plains. I speak today to hold all of you accountable for the disastrous choices you have made in the past and for the choice you will make today, because after all is said and done, you will build and build and build to no end in sight. and I challenge you to prove me wrong. For obvious reasons, the ag lands must be preserved to feed our growing population. In the last election, we experienced the worst ill-administered election that was orchestrated for disaster. It was successful for those who invested millions by special interest groups to get their people in place, and no one was held accountable. Government has failed to protect the welfare, the safety, and quality of life of Hawaii's residents and traded us off for development dollars. We pay out of control sewage fees, out of control highway maintenance fees, out of control user fees, and what do we get in exchange but a broken infrastructure rated the worst in the nation, and still you want to build. Be honest with us that rail was not about traffic relief. Rail was about big-time development for those who stand to gain by it, not the ordinary working class.